The problem, Corey, is I think we're losing the hate watchers now. I'm not even sure they're coming around. This isn't Jacksonville State anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
This is Florida State Memphis. This is the Vitamin Energy.
But shout out to all the hate watchers. Thanks for the click. Thanks for the view.
That may be all we. That's all we got now,
man. That's all. It's definitely all we got.
Vitamin Energy Warchant wrap. Thanks. VitaminEnergy.com is the website. You can go there and get a buy one get one free. The promo code is
Warchant BOGO.
Buy one get one free.
Wouldn't it be cool if this team had a win? Win.
Florida State falls to Memphis 20-12. It's hard to let's start with the first half. Let's go chronologically in this game. I think we need to take a kind of bite by bite.
All right. I thought you'd do more of a big picture. What are they going to do for a change? But you're right. Let's attack the game we saw first.
Well, I mean, I just think you kind of need to get the context of the fact that they get the ball to start the game and 2 plays in they fumble.
Of course they do.
Memphis the ball inside their own 25-yard line. And the defense held them to a field goal. And the defense, honestly, I thought in the first half played pretty well.
Man, the defense played well. 20 points at home against a good Power 5 team or a good group of 5 teams.
Could have got off the field a little bit in the second half.
Sure, but the defense is not the reason this team is 0-3, and it's certainly not the reason it lost today.
But that's what's weird about this team is the first 2 games. The first game for sure, I was most mad about the defense. Second game, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
This game, the offense and
today,
special teams.
Today, the offense just wrestled it away and said, it is our fault.
Yeah, Florida State had 67 yards of offense in the first half. They turned the ball over twice.
3 first downs?
2 or 3 first downs, 2 turnovers. When you have as many turnovers as first downs, plus you had a turnover on special teams and a couple other mistakes in special teams, it was a group-wide disaster, and Florida State falls to Mike Norvell's former team 20-12. I think this is the worst loss. Yes, I wrote in the game story. I think this is his worst loss yet, you think?
Of his career?
No, of this season.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, because you had a whole week off. You had 12 days to prepare for this game. Coming off a bye, and your offense is atrocious. Again, Benson made a nice catch. Nice throw, DJ. The offense made some plays in the second half. It also took about an hour and a half to go 70 yards to kick a field goal to make it 20-12 because it was 20-9 because your coach went for 2 to make it. And so if you want to know, we did ask him about that 2-point conversion call. They got a lot more issues than their decision making with coaching advantages. But he said that he wanted to win the game 21-20, so that's why he went for 2. So that a touchdown and field goal doesn't just tie the game; it wins the game.
My argument would be he's watched this offense, and the odds of them getting 2 2-point conversions or even 1 2-point conversion.
Well, they only needed 1. If they only needed the 1, then they would have been fine.
I'm giving the ball to Ryan Fitzgerald. I'm going to let him tie the game and then take our chance.
And Ira did have a good line when we were watching the game as he was punting on 4th down with 2 minutes left. He's like, well, when the game's on the line, you get the ball in the hands of your best player, which is his punter. So that made sense. His punter and his kicker are the 2 best players. But we can say there's a lot of blame to go around, and there is. They jumped off sides. They ended up not mattering because they got the ball back anyway, but they jumped off sides on a punt. They had the fumbled punt. But, man, the offense is a wreck. I wrote this in the column. It might be on the site by the time you're watching this. It should be, hopefully. If you take away the 3 52-plus yard field goals that Ryan Fitzgerald's hit, 52, 54, and 59, take them away, this team is averaging less than 10 points per game. Yeah. It is horrible. It's horrible. They're averaging 13.7 as it is. How many teams in the country are averaging less than 2 touchdowns a game? Maybe 3, 5? It's inexplicable how bad it is, and that's why I think, and we'll move on. We can talk about it now. We can talk about it later. You can't keep doing this. Can't keep running this kid out at quarterback, and it's not DJ's fault necessarily. There's a whole lot of blame to go around, but clearly this kid's skill set combined with your offensive line and your scheme ain't working. So give me a quarterback that can run and move a little bit, please.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they did drop a lot of passes is part of the equation. And Mike Norvell, when he was asked about DJ Uyunglele after the game, he said, listen, we all share responsibility in this. We had dropped passes. We didn't pick up blitzes. There's a lot of things we did wrong. But I think to your point, Memphis did blitz a lot, and you've got to make them pay for that.
That'd be nice.
He never once made them pay for that. In fact, a lot of times he's so slow to make a decision or to get rid of the ball. And again, it's not all his fault. Pass protection's bad too, but it's kind of a perfect storm, man. Like they end up for somehow Darius Washington, your left tackle, got hurt or something in pregame warmups.
Yeah.
So now you're without him. You're already without Jeremiah Byers, your right tackle. Shaheem Brown, who's your leader in the secondary at safety, he was unavailable today. You had a bunch of guys go down during the game.
Yeah.
Murphy. They're gonna have to rename Murphy's Law to Norvell's Law.
Yeah.
Everything that can go wrong is going wrong.
Well, but again, I keep coming back to that offense, man. And you're right. It's not just that he's slow moving. It feels like in this offense, he's slow processing. There's too many bad decisions and slow decisions that end up killing a play and then killing a drive. And I just think, man, and I don't think Brock Glenn necessarily is the next Joe Montana or the next. That's probably a little dated reference. Who should I go with?
Patrick Mahomes?
Bart Starr?
Right.
He's not the next Bart Starr, but he can move, man. He can run, and there are a couple of those plays. You probably don't get into a 4th and 35 if Brock Glenn is your quarterback and you have to punt the ball away. He can maybe avoid pressure. If somebody's not open, he can go get you 8 yards. DJ ain't doing that. But at the end of the day, that falls at the feet of the head coach. He had 12 days to figure out what his offense was going to look like, and it had 67 yards at the half.
So when Florida State lost,
I sound angry. It's still fun. I still have a good job. It's a cool job, guys.
When Florida State lost to Georgia Tech in Dublin, we stood here, and I remember like a lot of people asked.
We weren't here.
We didn't stay. We stood on the field. We had these microphones, that camera, Aslan making
there
magic
staring at us
behind the camera. I think that game. After that game, a lot of people said was, man, what are you seeing in practice? Does it look like that in practice? And we're like, no, it doesn't look like that in practice. Now you'd be fair if they asked, like, do they practice? Are you sure they still practice? Because man, how many dumb penalties? I mean, offsides. Again, turnovers. The muffed punt return. You've got one of your own guys gets basically blocked into you because he's standing right next to you.
Yeah,
as the ball's coming down.
Yeah, there's no need for him to be anywhere near the ball right there.
It's not like Mike Norvell doesn't work on special teams.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the things that they work on, they're not even good at. And I don't know, man. One of the questions that Norvell talked about after the game when he was asked, press conference was a little abbreviated, guys. There's probably some questions we would have liked to have asked. In fact, we had our hands up, but the fire alarm went off, so they had to cut it short.
Who pulled that? Who pulled the fire alarm so he'd have to stop talking?
Might not have been a bad idea, but there's so many things that they're doing wrong that it's hard to identify things that they can do going forward, because again, it seems like they're regressing. It's not like Memphis played well, Georgia Tech, Boston College. It's not like these teams are. It's not like you're losing to Marquise Higgins from Virginia back in the day, where a guy just goes
an old school name,
unconscious. He was
a contemporary of Joe Montana.
Memphis, I honestly believed early in that game, Memphis knew they couldn't block Florida State, and I think it looked like they felt like they were going to be in for a long afternoon. Maybe I'm projecting. But as the game went on, they got more confidence, and they just won the game. It wasn't like they did anything special, and that's kind of been the theme of all three of these games. It's not like Florida State's just losing these games.
Well, yeah, but I also think that I'm going to be a dead horse. I'm a broken record beating a dead horse.
Both of those.
The defense,
you're going to beat a dead horse
with a broken record. Just slice that thing up. The offense is the issue. The defense was fine. The defense played its best game of the season. The defense actually, I think, had 10 or 11 tackles for loss. Yeah. It attacked more, and it did so even without, like you said, Shaheem Brown, and it missed some linebackers, but at least for the most part, they were impacting the game. That front seven impacted the game. It played fine. Now, the big tight end's still open somewhere on this field, but for the most part, when you give up 20 points, and 6 of those points are after turnovers inside the 30-yard line, then, man, that's good enough, man. That's good enough. And the offense, that's why I think the one thing I can take away from the game that I at least was looking to see is the defense did look like it cared, and it was hitting, and it was out there making plays. And as they play quarterbacks more like that aren't as quick, they can impact the game in the passing game. They got them in third and long. They convert a couple third and longs, not many. By and large, the defense was fine. The offense is a disaster. I don't know how else to say it. I can keep coming up with different words. Disaster,
calamity,
disgrace.
Here's the thing.
Disgrace is probably pretty. That might be strong, but I don't think so. Not for this program in this place, and what this coach has done in his career. To have an offense that scored 41 points in 3 games is an abomination.
It's really inexplicable.
To the football gods.
Mike Norvell was asked after the game. This is where I lost my train of thought earlier. He was asked after the game about just the attitudes as you see guys hanging their heads. He insists.
If he's in the press box, he would.
He insists that guys are still working hard. They're still practicing. They're still trying to do what they can do. He thinks more than anything, there's still too much pressing going on. I thought it was cool to see a little leadership, a little force maybe, but Justin Cryer trying to stand up and deliver a vow. He kind of rallied the team in the press conference after the game. We spoke to Justin Cryer and Josh Farmer, and Justin Cryer took the opportunity to say, I still believe in this team. And he also said, I think he said, I want everybody to hear this. It sounded like he wanted the team to hear this. He believes in them. He believes in the coaches. He believes in this program. He's convinced they're going to turn it around. He's trying, but how many of these guys do you think really believe at this point?
I don't think any of them do right now. I think they believe in themselves, and they might believe, even the defensive guys might believe in, okay, we played better. We're okay. We can be a good team, a good side. But, yeah, man, the only people that believe are probably Mastromano and Fitzgerald at this point in themselves.
And
Justin Cryer. And Azaria was fine. I mean, the defense as a whole was fine and was good enough. But, yeah, man, I think when you get such bad offensive play, it just sucks the life out of everything. Like, that's why I was more than impressed maybe than you were with the defense, is because the offense was so bad in the first half that they did keep them in it. And they did keep trying even when the offense gave them no reason to care or believe.
And I was really impressed with the defense. I just thought they were asking too much of them as the game went on late in that game to get off the field quickly. Because, yeah, man, they're worn out. The time possession at one point it seemed like it was 3-1 at one point.
I know at one point Memphis had run 60 plays and you had run 31. Right. And then you were in the middle of that
if it wasn't for that
time-swallowing drive, the 8.5-minute drive, and then you get down inside first and goal at the 3 or 4, and ended up having to kick a field goal because you don't block it well. I don't think your quarterback maybe makes the right run checks into the defense he's looking at. Those are all things that are more than just him hitting the bricks on throws. I thought he was fine accurate-wise today. You know, he made some nice throws. He really did. But it's not enough, man. It's just not enough. And as I said in the column, Mike Norvell is probably not going to fire the play caller. Right?
Fair.
So what's the next biggest thing he can do?
Well, and you know, you specifically asked him as a follow-up question about the quarterback, and this is, you know, and I think this is the fair approach. Is it's like we don't know whether or not DJ sees it right. We do see some drop passes. We don't know whether or not he's making all the right decisions. But the point you brought up to Mike Norvell, which I think is very fair, is if you had Brock Glenn or somebody who's dynamic athletically, what could that do for your running game? Because, again, today, I know there's lost yardage, sacks, and all that involved as well, but 24 carries for 37 yards. This team is maybe the worst running team. I mean,
in creation, in the history of sports?
It's hard to run the ball as poorly as they do, and if you had a mobile quarterback, that would help there.
It would help immensely. Imagine a defense actually thinking the quarterback might pull it. Because it's wide open, man. It's wide open, but they don't. He doesn't pull it. He knows he can't move right now. I don't know if he's banged up and just can't move, or he's just an old man now. He thinks he's an old man and doesn't want to. I don't know, but his running ability is non-existent. And this offensive line isn't good enough. This scheme with this offensive line isn't good enough for you to not have an athletic quarterback back there. So through no fault of DJ other than, I guess, genetics, and not being a super fast kid, not being, I like to call it twitchy. Right. He doesn't have a lot of twitch.
You don't see that?
I don't see a lot of twitch in him. Through no fault of his own, I want a twitchier quarterback. Just give me twitchy. Just give me twitchy, Mike.
Give him twitchy or give him death. Or give him another Florida State football game. Florida State
That's right.
Will play again next Saturday.
Get excited, folks.
They're going to play against Cal.
That's probably champagne worthy. I did not know in 2024 we would be back to me having to pour champagne on you if they win a game. But, I mean, buddy.
But champagne gets poured on you if you don't remember.
I can't remember how that went. But, yes, I don't. We're going to have to do something because, of course, we've got to exercise some demons again somehow. It's up to us. It's up to us at Warchant to get this thing rolling again.
But yeah, back to, I mean, just to wrap it up on a high note,
Oh, good. Let's hear this.
Again, with the way they lost this game, they're going to have to play much better to really beat anybody other than Charleston Southern on their schedule. And to me right now, that's a coin flip because
Charleston Southern's a coin flip?